In this tutorial, we will create a hierarchy from an existing mapping. This means that we have mapped individual projects in the first step and are now creating a new hierarchy project to subsequently evaluate these together with existing projects using the hierarchy. We create a new empty hierarchy first. We go up on hierarchy, hierarchy new, assign name, hierarchy church. We apply. And now we have our empty hierarchy with a layout for mapping, mapping templates, and a navigation map on the right. And we can begin by importing the template. So we go to the map template, right-click, and import the map template. And now we'll get the mapping template from one of the existing projects. That means I have a compilation of 5 window axes where mapping has already been done. And now I have to think about which project I have advanced the mapping the most in, where are the largest quantities mapped already, where are the classes fully implemented that I want to use for further mapping. I go to Vensterjoch or Window Bay 1 and double-click, open a project, and really only get the structure of the classes and groups from the existing project. That means the mapping content from this project is not imported for this. And I call the template natural stone and say OK. If I now import the other mapping projects afterwards, then the projects will be linked to the template of Joch 1. And then we can look at the class analysis afterwards to see how the projects fit or are uniform or not uniform. I am going to the node city church. Don't create an outline because I have a poor facade project. So I right-click and immediately say import mapping. That is, I insert an existing mapping into the hierarchy, and we are going to do this 5 times now. I open the first project, apply all files, and link with the template natural stone. This goes quite quickly. I am importing the next project. And now the last project. The mapping data for this example can of course not be found in the mapping training source image folders because it is simply real data from a project that we cannot provide in this way. You will have to do this with your own mapping projects. So now I have created my first 5 projects in the first step, and I can now also see a small preview on the right for the individual mapping projects, giving a preview of which project it is. This is always automatically generated when there is already content in the mapping. Next, we create the navigation map. We click on Edit Navigation Map and have our empty mapping project. go to the project tree, image layers, and load an overview image of the floor plan. Town church plan overview and open it. I'll just take it on this scale. And if I go to the layout paper area now, we have a relatively large plan format here. So we go to project settings, click on change and switch it to 1 to 250 and apply this. When you go back to the paper area in the menu, select A3 landscape. Okay. And we can still crop the text field and draw a rectangle here. And say minimize. And then we have room for legends on the left and on the right. And now the plan shows the labeling of the individual projects. That means I have already allocated the north facade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I am going to the mapping tree, north facade Joch1, and simply select a rectangle and mark the area for the mapping project. We save this and close the project. And now see the list of my projects below in the legend. Now, if over here I select a mapping class, I can already see how many elements and how many entries are for this object. And then I can control the coloring from when I want to receive the warning of red coloring. This is the percentage that I'm showing here. And when I go to quantities here, then I also see a percentage calculation. However, this always presupposes that I have an appropriate definition of the mapping area in the respective projects. So I also see that in project 5, 12 square meters were mapped, but the area is gray because the corresponding mapping area was not assigned. So we open project 5 and go to the all group and select the total area class. And actually the area has already been assigned. So you just need to tell the project under mapping area object and assign a class total area. And can see here the total area. I say OK. I save and I close the project. And then I also have the corresponding percentage calculation here. I can now redefine the coloring from when what should be displayed with which color. And I might say 30% here and get a corresponding representation over here. And you can look back to see how the intensities of the measures and damages are distributed over the project. I can continue like this now. I may have already mapped all these projects and can import them step by step. However, I can also say that I have only mapped these 5 and then I start creating new projects here. So I go to the hierarchy node, right-click, create mapping. The setting from the template natural stone is adopted, just like in facade north Joch1. So I enter my name Facade South, Joch1, and apply. And then I can select my project right here in the overview from the navigation map, take the rectangle command and make my mark here once the navigation map is created. And we have to do this 2 more times and create the next mapping projects. FSJ2, apply. And then assign the rectangle. And start the third project. FSJ3. First select the project and then the rectangle. So let's take a look. We have imported various projects that may have been edited by different people. So it could be the case that the projects aren't really all the same. And that is where the class analysis comes in. I go to the left here to the node of the template and click my right mouse button and open Analyze and Purging Classes. And now the projects are being read out in a comparative manner. Now, of course, I get the display here showing where what was mapped, how many areas have been mapped in total. I see that everything is still empty in my projects from the south facade, so nothing has been done or mapped there yet. And then I get a warning here that there are differences in the projects. So that I have some projects where there are missing classes. I did that simply by manipulating it a bit to show you that it's possible. I have the Vernadelung class in a project, and then I choose the second class here where I simply made a typing error and just named the classes differently. And when I want to combine them into one class, I have to make sure that it's either missing in one or the other. That means I can't map the same topic in 2 classes in one project. If I choose them or want to combine them, it must always be the case that one line is full and the other one is empty and they fit together. So we right-click these 2 merge classes into one class. Then I choose the correct spelling and apply. Now the program is going into all the projects and making the appropriate corrections. And I have only one class that exists across all projects. Now you have to imagine that you can do this for 10 projects, but you can also do this for 100 projects. And over here we see that there is a missing class, the Führung class, and I would like to assign these to all other projects now. That means that it is present in individual projects, in 3 projects, and absent in 4 projects. We right-click on the class and can say inherit class from template to mapping projects. That means it was only available in project Facade North, Window Bay 1, and was therefore imported into the template and was still missing in the other Northern projects. And I will now quickly pass on that to be inserted into the other existing projects. So we can quickly bring order to our projects afterwards. I have a blue warning here. It shows me that the group hasn't been assigned to the class yet. Right-click Group Assignment. So I see a different marking here. That is, some of them have been assigned to the group Maßnahmen, and in the projects where I have inherited them, they have not yet been assigned. That means I reset the check mark, and then the software goes back into the projects and assigns this new class to the corresponding mapping groups. And we have fixed this problem too. And so, relatively quickly, we implemented a standardization across all projects through a variety of projects. Finally, for the provision of the mapping projects, best regards to Karlsruhe, who provided us with this project and allowed us to make tutorials with it.